Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my March wrap up. Finally we are in spring. The sun is shining, for the moment anyway. I'm going to do this month's wrap up in two separate videos as sort of a test. So this video will be books, and then my next video will be films and TV shows. Let me know in the comments if you prefer it that way, or if you rather just press play and watch whatever of the video that you want to watch. In March, that is we're in April now, I read 3 books in total, and I did start one book, didn't finish it because I just couldn't get into it, and I also continued reading a couple of other books as well. So the books that I finished are these 3, and strangely, or not so strangely, they're all by women writers, which is nice because March was International Women's Month. On the international front, I did finish A Concise Chinese-English Dictionary for Lovers by Xiaolu Guo. Really enjoyed this. I thought it was just smart, witty, creative in the way it's written. I've already spoken a bit about this, so the fact that it centres on a Chinese woman come into England to learn English, and the format of the story reflects that. As she goes through her language learning journey, the narrative evolves from basic but passable English to very succinct, amazing English. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. It's smart, funny. It's also quite heartbreaking. Like, there is a romance plot in this that it's a bit tricky to read, and it's just a bit like makes your heart ache a little bit by the end. Then I read Rest and Be Thankful by Emma Glass. Most gorgeous book I've ever seen, and I'm matching it today. Green. This was stunning. Absolutely lyrical and very, very dreamlike in places, but also very brutally raw and honest. An unflinching portrayal of life on the front line of a pediatric children's hospital ward thing. I don't know how to say it. Pediatric, there we go. Right, it was a one and done. We follow Laura over a couple of days of her life working as a paediatric nurse. It is quite hard to read this one, and it did take me quite a while to finish it, even though it's very small, because it deals with death and of babies, which is like, it's almost one of the worst types of death, because it's a small child that has never really had the chance to live. There's some gorgeous passages in this. I did make notes on some of them. I don't know why. Shall I read some of these out? Oh yes, just the way it's written. Tiredness falls off like shriveled snake skin. It will hang over the doorway and wait for me until the end of the day. Hang and wait to engulf my withered body, wrap me up and crush. What a brilliant simile for tiredness, and just the feeling of it, and like shriveled snakeskin. There's a lot of alliteration and sibilance in this book, which my English literature brain just devoured, ate up and analysed till the cows come home. And there's another one on the following page about like a baby being wired up to monitors, but the way it's written, it becomes something grotesque. Ghastly tentacles of gleaming plastic flow out of his nose and his chest. Leads lead into lines on the monitor, furious, frenzied blue lines tracing signs of life. The sign of a heart trying hard, running across the black face of the monitor and dropping off the screen into oblivion. Gorgeous. But yeah, there was one line that I particularly liked, because the flow of the language represents the flow of the motion happening. So they're doing something with bed sheets. As we lift them taut into the air, I hope to smell the fake flowery fragrance of fresh washed sheets. But all I smell is dry sterility, the faint smell of still steam and slight scorching. And so then I made some notes. Hopeful. There's hopeful in the F sounds, like the fake flowery fragrance, even though it says fake, but it's almost propelling you upwards. And there's a hopefulness to it. So the hopeful F sounds puff you up. And it also then follows the action of them flapping the sheets into the air, and then the slippery sibilance of the S sounds drags you straight back down to reality, and so it slides down with the sibilance. Amazing, just one line can tell you so much in the sounds of the language used. Genius. Absolute genius. Oh yeah, and then I really liked this one as well. I'll stop in a second, but there's three main things. I mean, most of the book is gorgeous, sensational, and just a fantastic read if you like almost flowery prose. So if you like Angela Carter, who I love the way she, sometimes people say overwrite, but for me it's just poetry. It's poetry in prose. But yeah, there's this one about a breakup. The split is raw, like my skin has been unzipped and my chest is open. My heart climbs up and clambers out on aortic arms. That's like I can't say scientific terms. Dragging ventricles and veins, squeezed, dry, old, blue and used. My lonely lungs will continue to breathe. Blood will make its own way to where it needs to be. I will live without the thumping beat, the throbbing beast. It belongs to you now, for a while at least. Please send it back, half full, with no hard feelings. Gorgeous piece of fiction. Sensational. And I read this as part of the Welsh Readathon. I was supposed to read One Moonlit Night by Cradock Pritchard. I just couldn't get into it, so sorry, Kieran. But yeah, anyway, this was fantastic. I need to find more of Emma's work because, wow. At some point I will seek out One Moonlit Night again and try it, but I wasn't in the vibe for it, sorry. And I'm very much a mood reader because half the books I actually own I probably started reading at some point but never finished them. Then the next book I finished, it's quite a small one, I read it over a couple of days. It's Passing by Nella Larsen, published 1929, so we're in the Harlem Renaissance in New York, and some of it takes place in Chicago as well. It's about two women who are of African American descent who can pass, so they are white enough for white society to be overlooked. I mean, this feels weird saying this, but almost, yeah, overlooked for their African American, their black heritage. And one woman, Claire, actually does marry a racist and lives quite a charmed life, so it would seem, but she's obviously hiding something quite big. Some of her heritage, she's lying. It's not practical, and it does catch up to her. But then there's Irene as well, who doesn't pass, but could quite easily pass, and in certain situations in this, she does pass, but not necessarily deliberately, and she is married to a black man and has two children. These women used to know each other, but they have sort of gone their separate ways. But Irene is very much jealous or envious of Claire, and the novel or the novella essentially is explored through Irene, but in third person. We mainly explore the story through Irene's POV, through third person, and it's a very psychological and thinking novel because there's a lot of writing about like how these characters feel, what they're hiding, what they're saying. It's brilliant. It's also an important read, and wow, 1929. Like, I find classics quite a mixed bag to read, but this read fluidly and it was fascinating. And yeah, so there endeth my delve into literature written by women. Accidentally / on purpose. Like, it wasn't a massive thing I was trying to do. I just was slightly aware in a sort of, the books I've picked up are all women. But then I've been continuing to read some of the Icelandic sagas that I've been reading. So like there's Grettir's saga, which I've made the most progress in. Which, interestingly, there's a moment where the character Grettir goes into a barrow and fights a barrow wight. And literally, that scene was replicated. I didn't know at the time because I hadn't read these stories yet. It was replicated in the Northman. And I was just like, as I was reading this, I was like, hello, that scene in Northman. And then I did a bit of research, and it turns out that he was, the director / writer, was inspired by the Icelandic sagas. So they brought to life this passage from Grettir's saga. which is cool. It's pretty neat. Essentially, this is my March wrap up. Thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you liked the video and let me know what you read in March. I think I can leave a thing for my thingy. Brilliant. I think I can leave a thing for my movie and TV wrap up, or it will come up at the end, or you can just find it on my homepage. But yeah, let me know down below whether you prefer them to be in one video or whether you prefer the book video and then the movie TV show video if you fancy watching that, because most people on this channel actually just cut off, so they only watch the book content and then the movie and TV show stuff doesn't get watched by many people, which is what it is. But it does take bloody ages to upload one massive video, whereas two smaller videos I think it would be quicker to upload. I don't know. I'm not a scientist or a mathematician. I'm just an idiot that reads books and watches movies. But yeah, anyway, I'm rambling. Goodbye. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.